Greetings again from Epiphany Productions, where I am. I'm at my internship, and greetings again from Dana on a Saturday night in her bear sweater. I was wearing this because today we had the spring football game, and I wanted to make a spirited statement. And someone on California Golden Blogs actually commented on the spring game thread and said, one of the female hydration technicians had a really cool bear sweater. So, mission accomplished. But anyway, today I thought that I would talk about a deeper subject because I feel like my vlogs so far have been kind of whatever. So today, basically what inspired this was that I've been looking a lot about the interview process at certain companies and the kind of questions that they ask. And one of the questions that seems kind of obvious now that I'm thinking about it, but something that I might not have expected, was just asking, like, what do you like? So, well, first of all, the companies that I'm talking about are like film companies. So if you're applying for an editorial job or something, then they're going to ask you technical questions, like maybe something on your reel, like how did you do this, or what's the most challenging thing that you've ever come across in your editing career, and how did you like overcome it? So those kinds of questions I was expecting. But then I was also reading that someone said that they asked something like, well, you obviously like film, but what else do you like? And like, what are your other passions? What else are you besides a film machine? And I was a little like, oh, I don't know, like worried. I'm a little worried about that question, I guess, because when I think of how I think of myself and when I think of how like my close friends think of me, I always think that people think of me as like a film person, and I'm not really sure what else I have. So I was thinking, well, how do I typically identify myself when I'm going through my day? And I would say my answer to that question is a little strange. So I would say when I go through a typical day, I would identify myself as a student. I would identify myself maybe not necessarily as a filmmaker, but more of a film editor. I would identify myself as an English major. I would identify myself as a hydration technician. And maybe like an animal person. So that's 5 things. So a student, a forever student, a film editor, a English major, a hydration technician, and an animal person. So I don't know. I feel like my answer to that question, like what else do you do, wouldn't be very interesting. So I was trying to think of what I would talk about, and I guess the most interesting thing that I could talk about from that list would be an English major. But in some ways, in my brain at least, I think film and English are basically almost the same thing. And I don't know if anyone else thinks that way, but I just think you're analyzing something, but it's just a different context. Like one is a visual, sound, and like editing context, while another is just a written context. So I don't know. I've always thought that those were the same things. So I think that if they were asking like, what else do you do? And I was like, I read books and I analyze books, then that wouldn't be very different. But I guess if I'm thinking more about it, then I might also identify myself as someone who's like a martial artist, maybe. Although I've drifted away from that in the past couple of years, but I definitely would like to go back to it because I always loved Taekwondo. And maybe like a baking person. But again, I feel like a lot of girls like to bake and a lot of girls like to cook. So is that really unique? I don't know. But maybe it's not necessarily the individual qualities and interests that you have, but the fact that you have these particular interests and they're all connected to you in your mind. Maybe that's what makes people unique. Well, that's all I'm going to say. So I'm wondering, how do you guys identify yourself? And what would you say if you were posed with that kind of question? Like if you were applying for your dream job and then they said, so this is your dream, but what else are you interested in? Then how would you answer? I would be interested to know. So anyway, I hope you're having a lovely April, and I will see you tomorrow.